Well, last night I went out to an event, and really it's just like performances and some socializing, but it happens kind of often where I'll go out or I'll be talking to somebody and they'll ask me, do you smoke? No. Do you drink? Not really. Maybe one beer or two whenever I feel like it, but no, not really. And then the next question is, how do you enjoy yourself when you go out, or how do you like have fun when you're doing things outside or at events or hanging out or whatever? And this topic has like multiple layers where not everybody falls into the category that I'm about to be speaking about, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people either downplay it or they don't realize it or they just don't actually care. But there is an element to smoking and drinking where it's like it's a social thing, like it brings people together, but it's kind of like a multifaceted topic. So one reason somebody might feel like they want to or need to either smoke or drink, whether it's nicotine or weed or whatever, when they go out, that could be because they're socially anxious. So if you're smoking nicotine, like you're vaping, if you have that vape in your hand, as you're hitting it, it's calming you down. If you're talking to somebody, or if you're standing around and you feel like a little anxious or a little awkward, just hitting your vape real quick, it can make you feel more comfortable. And I know this because I've been in that position where I used to vape, and when I would go out, it was just like a nice thing to have. If you notice yourself in public around people, just notice what you do when you feel awkward or when you feel like a moment of being a little uncomfortable. You might fidget, you might like rub the back of your head, put your hand in your pocket, take it out your pocket. You might pull out your phone and just start randomly scrolling through like your messages or your email or whatever. That's like a coping mechanism. You feel awkward, you feel uncomfortable. Everybody does it. I'm not saying that that's something that's not normal. Everybody does that, but it's like being aware of it can make it so that you can know what is making you uncomfortable in a social situation. Like your body is naturally trying to cope with feeling uncomfortable or anxious by doing certain things like checking your phone or hitting your vape. But if you're like unconscious of that, you're not even aware that you're doing it, you can't really work on that and become less anxious in social situations. But that's one side of it. So smoking, whether it can be weed. If you smoke, you might be the type of person who gets more relaxed like after you smoke, and you don't think too much, you're not too much in your head, and everything is just like cool, funny. And that can be like another sign of, if you feel like you need to smoke when you go out or before you go out, that can be a sign that you're socially anxious or you're not fully comfortable being out in public or around people. And of course, the same thing with drinking. Everybody knows that if you get enough drinks in you, then your inhibitions are lowered. You feel more comfortable dancing, singing, talking to other people. Everybody knows this. So that can be like another sign that maybe you're socially anxious, if you feel like you can't go out without having a drink or without smoking. And then the other side of this is where most people think they fall, and that's just, I just enjoy smoking, or I just enjoy drinking. There's no depth behind it. I'm not anxious if I don't smoke or drink. I just enjoy it a lot more when I do. That's the other side of it. Most people think they fall into that category where they don't need to smoke or drink to go out, and that they would be just fine if they didn't, but it's just so much more fun if they do. That's actually a very rare position to be in. That's actually like not as common as people think. There's a reason why socializing and partying is so closely associated with doing substances, whether it's like anywhere between nicotine and alcohol and all these other drugs. There's a reason why socializing and doing drugs or consuming substances is so tightly wound, why it's such a common thing in our society. And it's not just because it's more fun when you do it. But yes, that is definitely a very valid reason why you might smoke or drink while you're out or before you go out. So I'm not trying to tell you specifically where you fall, but I've noticed in myself, when I stopped drinking and stopped vaping and all that other stuff, when I go out now, I try not to check my phone at all. Like when I just went out, I didn't didn't check my phone unless, you know, it was prompted, like I was gonna Cash App somebody or follow somebody on Instagram or something like that. But besides that, I didn't pull out my phone and just randomly start scrolling or looking at the time awkwardly or anything like that, because I think that it's good to feel when I'm like feeling awkward and understand, why do I feel awkward? Why do I feel uncomfortable? I think everybody has like a varying degree of social anxiety and feeling uncomfortable around people that they don't fully know. Like, of course, if you're with your best friends or if you're with your family and you're around them all the time, you're not gonna feel uncomfortable around them. It's just natural. But if you go out to like a party or something, or like an event, you don't know everybody there, and there's gonna be some level of like, I don't know if these people are thinking I'm weird, or I don't know if I'm acting a certain way and they're perceiving it a certain way. I don't really know them. You know, there's always that element when you're around people that you don't 100% know. But ever since I stopped consuming substances, when I'm going out, I'm able to just sit in my own head and with my own thoughts and just feel the awkwardness and just, you know, be in the moment. The best thing that has helped me with social anxiety is just exposure. That's like the main thing that can help you with any type of anxiety, really, but especially social anxiety. You don't fully feel comfortable being out in a social situation sober. Okay, well, put yourself in that situation sober and see how you feel, see what your body does. And once your brain starts to have these thoughts of, am I being awkward? Am I being uncomfortable? Or did I just say something wrong? Like, understand that that's just a thought. Like, what helps me is whenever I feel like I did or said something weird, I just think back to the last time I saw somebody do or say something weird, or I just think of like, okay, if somebody did or said something weird right now, I would probably forget about it within like the next 2 minutes. Even if it was so hilarious, eventually I would forget about it. But I know that social anxiety, or just the way that the human mind works, the person who did something embarrassing, they probably will be thinking about that for like hours or a day or whatever it is, but everybody else around them just forgot about it within minutes. But yeah, it's good to look around, like being sober in social situations and just looking around and realizing that everybody else around you, they're either very, very comfortable because they're around people that they fully know, or they're on some type of substance, alcohol, nicotine, weed, whatever, that's helping them cope with some type of anxiety, or they're as anxious or as uncomfortable as everybody else. That's like the 3 positions you can be in. Comfortable because you know everybody, or comfortable enough because you have a substance in you that's helping you be more relaxed and open, or a little anxious or uncomfortable because you just don't know everybody and you don't have any type of substance in your body to cut through the awkwardness and, you know, the social anxiety. That's like the main 3 positions that you can be in. So once you like sit down or just look around and observe people, you'll realize that everybody falls into that category. And one last thing that I want to speak about is, we've all either seen or been in that situation where we went out or we're hanging out with friends and we smoked a little too much, or we drank a lot too much. And now we're in a position where we are embarrassing ourselves. Like, if somebody recorded us, like if a friend recorded you, or if a stranger recorded you in that position and played it back to you the next day when you were sober, you would be very, very embarrassed. So while I think that sometimes there's no issue with smoking or having a drink in a social situation, but I do notice that some people find themselves in a position where they've done a little bit too much. And this all comes with learning, this all comes with wisdom and age and just experiencing your limit. But I do think that it's interesting how far we will go to just feel open and feel comfortable and feel all of the weight lifted off of our shoulders so that we can feel less anxious and have a good time. I think it's interesting how we'll smoke way more than we know we're supposed to, or we'll drink 1 too many shots even after we're feeling amazing, in order to just, you know, either lower our anxieties or fit in with the social situation. Everybody's taking shots. I've already had maybe 1 too many shots, but I'm gonna take another shot because everybody else is taking another shot. I think it's very interesting how far we will go in order to feel comfortable or fit in with the group, even though it might go against our basic survival skills. But like I said, I don't think that everybody who smokes or drinks or whatever in social situations is covering up any type of anxiety, but it is very, 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 very common. It's usually the reason. And I used to think that I wasn't that type of person. Like, no, I just enjoy it. And to an extent, like, I've never consistently went overboard with any type of substance. Like, I only got a little too drunk one time, and I think that one time was enough for me to say, yeah, I'm not gonna get too drunk ever again. But you know, we've all been in these situations, but I think that it's important to know, why do I put myself in this situation? And maybe even go out one time or every other time and don't drink or don't smoke, don't bring your vape, and see, how do I feel when I don't have any substances in my body and I'm outside at an event around people I don't fully know? And then ask yourself, are you okay with like your base state of being? Like, are you okay with your sober mind? Are you able to have fun with your sober mind in a situation like that? So yeah, I think that's a good thought for everyone to go through, whether you think that it's not you or maybe it could be you. I think it's important to put yourself in that situation and actually put your theory to test. If you don't think it's you, okay, put that theory to test and go out and don't drink or smoke or vape. If you know that's you, but you're too scared to go out in a social situation around strangers without smoking, drinking, vaping, or having any other substance, then start challenging yourself. Exposure is the best way to get over social anxiety. But I love you guys, and I will catch you in the next video.